Okay. So I have a lot of Facebook groups that I'm in. I speak with a lot of clients from all over the world. And there are so many people that are confused by the terminology, right? That we use for becoming awakened or different soul groups that are spoken of. Ascension, what does that really mean? Kundalini, what does that really mean? So one at a time, I'm trying to sort of address these topics and help you to gain some clarity into what this really means, because the language that is used is very hard to understand, very mysterious sounding, maybe even taboo for some people. It seems woo woo and out there. Um, and it's really the most basic, natural thing that you could do, you know, this soul growth. So to understand the language that's being used in this day and age is important, um, mainly for you to be able to understand where you're really at in your soul growth, um, and who you are, but also to help you feel comfortable in your own skin in it, right? To make it not seem so weird and have us seem so divided, because we're really not divided. We're actually all connected. Um, I mean, a lot of people can find that easy to understand if we say, we're all God's children. That's more of a Christian phrase to say, so that's understandable, or, Muslim, whatever. Um, it's like a religious comment, is what I meant. Not that I'm trying to leave anybody out or single anybody out. And I don't mean it in a bad way whatsoever either. So please don't take it that way. But it's just easier to understand if we say, we're all God's children. Um, but we're all collectively connected as well. And that would be the language that's used in the spiritual circles. Okay. That collectively, our consciousness, our thoughts are connected. And so I want to try to help you gain clarity on these terms. Consciousness is your thought. Energy is something that we all read and feel and pick up on every day, even if we don't want to admit the truths of the message that we're receiving in it. Um, but so today's topic and clarity will be gained on speaking on soul groups. Um, to help you understand soul groups, let's first begin with speaking of archangels. Most people are familiar with archangels, okay? And there are one main archangel attributed to every color in the rainbow, God's promise, okay? And they also have more, angels that are helpers with them. And so each one of those rays of color is a soul group of people who incarnate here on planet Earth for their lessons or their gifts, their assistance, their service to others. Um, Sometimes those lessons in service to others comes from those very hard lessons of how to be of service to self and do healthy self-care and healthy ego and healthy pride and healthy self-love, all of those things. Um, so everybody comes from a different soul group. There are, obviously different levels to each ray of the rainbow. Different attributes, different strengths, different gifts, different offerings, if you will, or lessons for humanity to experience life and to grow and to eventually go back to our creator, go back to the one, um, So when we talk about being highly evolved or evolving or ascending, we're essentially, leveling up until we're back to God in that aspect. Okay. So we're going to talk about one soul group in particular in today's segment. We're going to talk about the blue ray soul group. So we use the word star seeds as well. I am a star seed, and a lot of people don't understand what that means. Well, it means that I know that we all come from the stars. I understand that. And I've always had this connection to the stars and to God and to heaven, if you will. And I've always had this yearning to go back home, right? Um, so what is a blue ray starseed? This would be a soul group that is attributed to the blue ray of the rainbow. They came through the blue ray, their souls, right? There's 7 different levels that we're divided into, depending on where we're at in different stuff. And no judgment or bragging in either direction. It's just neutral, and that's just the way it is. It's just facts. Not trying to single anybody out, make them more special or less than in any way, shape, or form. But the blue ray starseeds are a soul group that came through the blue ray of creation. They particularly are extremely sensitive empaths, experiencing the world through their senses of feeling and on many levels and many dimensions all at once, simultaneously. Um, as children, they likely were very quiet and reserved. It may have taken them longer to learn how to seek and communicate with others. And a lot were misunderstood in that as having some type of disability or something that hindered them when it was actually quite the opposite. They were quiet because they were feeling and picking up on so many energies of other people, and it sort of overwhelms you as a child, and it also is like you're analyzing it. You're analyzing the data of what you're picking up. So they're quiet because they're analyzing and trying to figure it all out. Um, because, like I said, they're highly sensitive to all the energy. They're deeply intuitive, deeply compassionate, deeply caring, and they know with great clarity that their purpose is to empower the divine connection between the dimensional rays and the heart space through soul illumination. Um, is how we all do this. And so we, and I say we because I am a blue ray, we understand intimately that the only way to illumination or enlightenment or soul growth is through the heart space, which means you have to heal the heart space in order to transmute that energy into love again. The majority of blue rays, likely all of us really, are between the ages of 40 and 60 currently in the year of 2023. So between the ages of 40 and 60. But the starseed beings in general and the rainbow ray guardians also align strongly with the heart intentions of the blue ray. So that's where it can get a little confusing about who's who and what's what. And so that's why I'm offering clarity for these things. Um, because the rainbow ray guardians and starseeds in general, all of us, no matter what ray you come through, we all strongly align to the heart intentions. So, and in their very formative years, they likely even used other forms of communication as a child rather than their voice, um, with a clear sense of understanding and knowing. And like visually, they were seeing with totally different eyes than most children. Colors and sounds and symbols were all very prominent to them, and they could see the vibrations of them. They could see their energy field, which is what we would call an aura or an auric field of energy around all objects and all people and all animals and plants and even the water and the ground that we walk on. I mean, you can, as a blue ray starseed, we see that energy very clearly. There's no mistaking it for us, is my point that I'm getting to. All starseeds pick up on these things, but whether they acknowledge consciously that they're aware of it because they're aware of it is few and far between, I guess, because most of them intentionally were brought through the rays of creation with a type of blinders on or a type of amnesia intentionally, so that they could learn from life's journeys the lessons that they most needed to learn in order to be able to teach to others in the future. Because that is all of our purpose as starseeds. Our truest purpose is to learn it through life lessons so that we can teach it to you properly and thoroughly and easily so that you can comprehend it, right? Wrap your mind around it. And for me, being a blue ray starseed, in my journeys and travels, I've learned intimately that each and every one of you learn in a different way and at a different pace. And so it truly does have to be catered to each and every individual uniquely in order for them to truly be able to comprehend it and learn from it, for it to benefit them. So back to the symbols and stuff, the symbols and the colors and the numbers, and every living thing has a vibration and an arc field and a color to it. And color and numbers, even to me and several other people, have a taste value and a smell value and a feel value that you can uh, you're relaying through your information field of being able to read the energy on that level. So they have the ability to experience and feel situations on multi levels, as in like the present, the past, and the future all happening at once. And these traits can be amplified in their early years, which can make them feel very overwhelmed. When they realize that other kids can't do the same things that they can do, it really kind of freaks them out. It certainly freaked me out. I could not wrap my head around it at all. I did not understand why nobody else around me could do the things I did or experience the things I was experiencing. It was very puzzling to me. And as an inquisitive child, I needed to set out to figure out why. And that's what I did. But so they're going to feel overwhelmed as they may naturally, energetically internalize the feelings and the pain of other people and not understand the difference, not be able to necessarily discern the difference between someone else's emotions and their own until they understand, how to navigate that and use their shields to block energy from seeping into theirs and things. And I know plenty of adults that don't know how to do that yet. And again, no judgment, no pun intended on that. That's why I'm here, is to help teach you how to do that so that you're not overwhelmed and bombarded by those energies. Because, um, like the blue ray starseeds, as young children that are overwhelmed by this energy, it makes the individual want to be a recluse and isolate themselves and not be around people and not interact and not grow or share their gifts that they have to offer to the world. Um, a lot in their young lives and even later into adulthood will turn to different types of substance abuses or addictions of various different things, whether it's gambling or sexual or um, whatever. It's things that don't feed your soul but feed your ego, right? And they basically keep you numbed up and dumbed down to being able to grow. And again, no judgment, because it is very overwhelming just to be in this world at all, period. But to have those amplified senses is extremely overwhelming and very difficult, especially as a child, to find the inner strength and the strong willpower to still maintain and not seek the self harm traits and attributes that can come with being a human at all. Um, so they become isolated. That's a definite thing. So if you, as a child or even as an adult, would choose to isolate and be a hermit, you could very well be a star seed. You could very well be a blue right star seed, because the lesson there in being able to feel all of this extra amplified energy is so that the blue ray star seeds can naturally learn to energetically internalize the feelings and the pain of others in a healthy way that can help to contribute um, to the good of all by transmuting that negativity into something more positive. If they're not able to transmute this energy alone, this negative energy, um, it tends to make them want to, be withdrawn and quiet and um, isolated. That's the word that just keeps coming to my head, is isolated. And it's hard to focus that energy and acknowledge who they are and use their spiritual abilities um, to transmute all of that negativity, which is part of our purpose of being here. Part of our main purpose is to transmute all of this negative energy into something more positive so that we can help raise the vibration of the planet, which again is something that people don't really understand the language on. But, we follow the Schumann resonance because it measures the vibration of the planet, because everything really does, scientifically proven, have a vibration to it. And so we the starseeds, pay attention to the K index and the Schumann resonance and different charts and graphs like that, because we are actively, we who know who we are and know our strength and our ability and our purpose, transmute the negative energies of the planet to help raise the vibration. Because in turn, that's a ripple effect, and everybody can feel happier and feel more joy and feel more love rather than feeling the stress and feeling the sadness and feeling the grief and feeling the anger and feeling the confusion and feeling the chaos. Our main purpose is to transmute that energy of what you feel into something nicer so that we can all handle living in this energy on this planet Earth. So the blue ray beings are truly brilliant beacons of light that are shining and sharing their soul essence through unconditional love on all levels. They are here to be of service and in high vibrational ways, working with many unique gifts to support the change that they love, which is to guide people in very powerful ways back to their own inner wisdom that's within them, helping others to remember why they are here and how they can shift and lift their light through clear communication and meditation and inspired intention. Many times, the blue ray, which is again a very sensitive empath, will try to shut down their abilities for several reasons. But the main one is because they just want to fit in, feel normal, and not feel so much hurt because they are very sensitive souls. And they're very open empathetically to the whole world. I mean, they literally feel the weight of the world sometimes. And so they will divert their energies through drowning them out with different addictions or unhealthy behaviors and blocking out their sensitive nature the best they can until their soul eventually calls them through events, situations, or circumstances to wake them up where they can just no longer deny who they are and their gifts that they share with the world. And so, my job, being who I am as a blue ray, it's my job to help awaken the other blue ray star seeds who are still sort of in their slumber. Because the blue rays, all of us, are meant to be the teacher of the teachers. Most have walked very difficult, challenging, and even horrifically heartbreaking paths of hurt and pain to now hold the capacity to be fully present with the pain that the body can feel. So we learn to hold this pain and transmute it of our own pain so that in turn we can also learn to hold the pain of others and free other beautiful souls, allowing them to feel seen, heard, acknowledged, accepted, and understood, which actually is offering a huge heart space of love for healing and transformation to occur. So, the Blu ray's biggest lesson for this lifetime is, in fact, that they are not responsible for everyone and that each person has to choose to grow. And me being the teacher that I've learned to be, again, I've had to learn that you can give someone all the tools and all the instructions and stand right there by them and hold their hand. But unless they're willing to pick up the tools and use them or read the instructions, it's not going to happen. And that's an acceptance in and of itself that you can't save everybody. And we really wish we could. But we respect and honor free will greatly, deeply. And that was a very hard lesson, particularly for me, being the nurturer and the caregiver that I am, because I'm a 3-time Cancerian, sun, moon, and rising. So I real bad want to just nurture and fix everybody. Feed them their food, cook for them, feed the food to them, make them happy, prop their feet up, whatever I got to do. I mean, I just want everybody to be happy. I really, truly do. And it's or was very difficult for me to learn that you just can't be everybody's fixer. They got to want to fix themselves. So that's really the biggest learning curve for the Blue Ray, that they're not responsible for everyone because they are natural nurturers. They're very loyal, very compassionate. And so, quite often, before reclaiming their point of power and purpose, these beautiful, gentle Blue Ray souls, unfortunately, will get stuck in relationships that do not serve their soul path at all, that actually tries to snuff out their light and drown them in the sorrow and can lead them into such of a spiral, such disarray that the addiction may not even be enough anymore to cover their pain and cushion the blow, to the point that this semicolon tattoo I have here is something that comes to their mind instead. And yes, unfortunately, many Blu-ray starseeds have chose to check out early. And again, no judgment, because they are tender, deeply feeling, loving souls. And they just couldn't handle all the negativity and pain that this school we call Earth has to offer. So I desperately want you to gain clarity on what a blue ray starseed is and what that means for you. And truly think about how much of what I've just said resonates with you, that you can relate to, that you felt like you were vibing with. Sounds familiar. How much? And then I will ask you, if you don't turn to me for further guidance, please turn inward and start finding your truths so that you can fulfill your purpose for being here, which is to succeed in all of this bombardment that you've experienced in this lifetime so far. Transmute it into beauty and joy and laughter and peace and harmony that feels like a distant pipe dream, that is very real, very tangible, and very much within reach, closer reach than you realize. Because in the blink of an eye, you can literally transmute the energy so quickly that you jump timelines. And I can show you how. It's not hard, but it does take zero doubt and 100% faith. That's the hardest part to it. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the Blu-rays and all the other colors of the rainbow rays, which is essentially, like UV rays, the UA ray, all those rays, right? It's the rays of light, the light vibration. It has energy, it has information within it, each one. That's a fact. That's a scientific fact. I ain't making up crazy stuff. I'm not talking about unicorns and puppy dog tails. This is real factual stuff. There's no woo woo here. I'm not some new age bullshitter. I'm somebody bringing the old ways back, right? Uh, so each one of the rays I mentioned are governed by a specified archangel and their assistants. The blue ray of the rainbow is governed by the archangel Uriel, who is my personal guide and who I channel, as well as Aurora, who is another archangel that is Uriel's companion, for lack of a better word. They're not like a couple, like we would think of companions, but she's his companion. And yes, they have male and female in the archangels, in heaven or whatever you want to call it. The ethereal realms. So my guides, who often call themselves the custodians, um, or the curators, because they are the gatekeepers of the knowledge, are the leaders, so to speak, or rulers, if you will, of the blue ray light spectrum of the rainbow. All of the colors of the rainbow, all of the different soul groups are here on Earth at this time. Each have their own unique, specialized gifts in specific areas of consciousness, who have a distinct purpose and a distinct contribution to offer their unique set of skills towards humanity's spiritual evolution. I mean, it's no secret to a lot of people now that we are definitely in this thing we call a great awakening, that I was years old was going to happen in my late 40s. I mean, I came here with that knowing. We're definitely in a spiritual awakening on all levels, in all definitions of the word, of the term. All kinds of truths are coming to light. All kinds of veils are being lifted. All kinds of curtains are being pulled back so that you can see with new eyes, through new perspectives and new lenses, exactly what the hell is up in every aspect and nook and cranny and dark alley of this planet. It's the Great Awakening. It's time to wake up. But so each ray comes with their own unique skill set to offer to humanity's spiritual evolution out of their soul groups, or their ray, if you will, that are assisting humanity's collective consciousness. And the blue rays are the most mysterious, perhaps, and definitely most talked about, because most don't even realize that there's a red, a green, a yellow, an indigo, a purple. You know what I mean? Like they just don't even realize that there's more. If you've heard of any kind of ray, you've likely heard of the blue ray. And I think that's part of what adds the mystery to their label, if you will, their title. I think I wrote something here to say about that, actually. Oh, just that they're the most common, and that's why, because they're really the only one that's spoken much about. But there's also a reason for that, because we needed a lot of teachers. So there was a big bulk of us that came through that ray. And then there are a handful, like myself, who came through with this knowing intact so that we could prepare better and be the teacher of the teachers to be the teachers. If that makes sense. I digress. Let me think about what I was saying here. Okay, so we all come with our own unique skill set. That's what I was saying. To assist with the collective consciousness, right? That we're all calling the Great Awakening. And the blue rays are the ones that are heard of the most and greatly misunderstood, in my opinion, by the way people try to portray or relay what exactly they are and what that means, because it makes a lot of people think that there's some kind of alien or ethereal type, or that it's just not real and it's, moon dogs and rainbows and unicorn kind of new age crap, basically. I'm sorry for all you new age people. I'm sorry. But it's just a bunch of hoopla that hijacked the real spiritual awakening. That's all it is. So the blue rays are, you know, something that I chose because I really feel like we need to make clarity on it. Is basically what I'm getting at. I want to demystify it. So, who are the blue rays? What unique qualities do they have? At the end of the video, I'll actually share some major themes that the blue rays are healing in the collective consciousness. Um, but I think the main thing I want to say here is that the blue rays are not from any one particular source of origin. Like they didn't all come from the Pleiadians or Andromeda or whatever, right? They're not necessarily related to blue aliens just because they're called the blue rays, is my point. But they are higher dimensional beings who have incarnated into this human experience, into this human form, from ascended worlds and higher vibrational realms of light, uh, rather than being from any one particular planet. So they basically got the name Blue Ray because of the dominant frequency and its vibration within the blue ray spectrum of creation. So they have a dominantly blue aura about them. In a lot of photographs of art fields that I've had taken of myself, the majority of my aura is this blue, and then there's this really big white on the outside of it. And I really truly feel like that white field on the outer edge is so big because I know how to like spread my shield out so big and keep other people's energy from affecting me in personal ways, right? It's like a personal defense thing. I'm still feeling it. I'm still acknowledging it. I'm still aware of it, but I don't allow it in here anymore. And that's also something that I've been teaching to other healers is that when you're healing someone, you don't take on their ailment or their pain or their issue. You transmute it right away. It doesn't have time to be in you. It doesn't have time to stick to you at all because we don't have to be the crippled up shaman of the old days. We don't, there was never any necessary purpose in that. That was people's limiting belief that caused that inability to remove it and transmute it. But so they're dominantly going to have the blue aura field around them, is what I was saying, which is the ray or the faucet of source consciousness that's highly clear in cognizance, okay, or otherwise known as wisdom, knowing, clear knowing. They're often described as mysterious or give off an esoteric vibe to people due to their interest in and their connection with the hidden and ancient knowledges. They don't fit in, even if they try. And they're incredibly wise, incredibly sensitive. And not only does their sensitivity lead them to feel things so deeply and intensely, but the intensity of their energy field comes from their sensitive nature. So paradoxically, their sensitivity is both experienced and expressed as intensity. And this adds to their very recognizable qualities as a refined fierceness, also allows their intuitive abilities to access realms that are not normally accessed from this dimension because of how subtle in nature and how high vibrational they are. Sorry. So because of this higher vibratory ability, um, they can access information at a level that's like enormous in the amounts of sensitivity that are required um, to reach those densities. And again, I'm trying not to use language that would go over your head that you wouldn't uh, necessarily be able to understand what I'm saying. But there are, different dimensions in the galaxy or in the universe or in the ethereal heavenly type planes, 9 specifically, that we can reach on our plateaus of development. And like you can be down here on third density where we are on planet Earth and reach a fourth or a fifth density through meditational practices and basic soul growth. However, the blue ray specifically of the star seeds have this ability to sort of quantum jump all the way up as high as like seventh, eighth, or even ninth densities of experiences and connection for information, guidance, communion, a vacation, whatever, to take a break. So, because these are very subtle vibrations up here that are harder to feel and pick up on for just the average novice meditator, if you will. It's more of an advanced learning. And again, no judgment. It's just facts. Okay. Just facts. Let me think about where I was at here because I had a point to make. Okay, so yeah, the point of them being able to reach these higher plateaus is because of the enormous amounts of sensitivity that's required um, in the understanding and the learning process to become the better teacher. And if we didn't have the ability to reach those higher density planes of existence, if you will, then there would simply be no way effectively to translate the communication to you. We wouldn't know how to articulate it to you. Okay. It does, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Because there would just be too wide of a gap in between the languages and the intelligence that's being exchanged. You know, um, it's not reserved to only the mind. In fact, the reason why blue rays are so wise is because of their empathetic nature, meaning they are master energy readers. So that's the true intelligence right there, is to be able to read the energy, read it well, trust what you're reading. No different than being in first and second grade and learning to read the letters that form words in a book and being skeptical if you're right about pronouncing that word and reading that word correctly or not. You see? I mean, it's no different. Um, and that's probably why a lot of us have a love for literature and reading, and we're always bookworms as well too, because or we become linguistic type people, or work with uh, neuro pathway linguistics, how the brain communicates with the receptors and things, because we're interested in language, right? A lot of the Blu-rays are also very interested in psychology, sociology, things like that, philosophy, um, things of the mind, things of language, things of communication. We're very in depth interested and seek that wisdom deeply. So, yeah, I mean, I truly should have a master's and a PhD and a whole lot of stuff. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying, I know personally for myself, I own enough books now, I could start my own library. I've done so much research and learning. And that's no joke. I mean, I could literally like open up a new Library of Alexandria. Maybe we will one day. Who knows? Um, but it was necessary for them to be able to articulate to you what needs to be articulated and taught, because it needs to be in a simple grassroots, KISS principle kind of a way, so that everybody can comprehend it. And personally, I feel like Einstein said it best when he said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't know it well enough to explain it to anybody. And I like that. I like that challenge that I felt when I read that for the first time when I was 19. I liked that a lot, and it stuck with me. Okay, so true intelligence can only exist in the presence of empathy. For instance, when we are learning something, that we are only using our brain or our mental faculty to take in the information and assemble it into understanding. But actually, we're using more than one sense to assimilate the information and to generate the understanding. We're absorbing the information through multiple channels, and our sentence is amplified. It's amplifying the learning. So it's like your learning process is much bigger than you realize. It's a much larger field of a learning process, because our empathy is soaking up the information in through all of its centers and then informing the mind of the connections that were not properly priorly recognized, and reorganizing all of that data so that consciousness is a holistic process of the energetic field. The more energetically sensitive a being is, the more potential for intelligence they actually have. And since holistic ability of the mind, body, soul is intelligence rather than a purely cerebral function, the Blu-ray's main purpose here is for global healing through alchemy. These are the masters of transmutation. So naturally, they are here to transmute the deepest, darkest portions of the third dimension that we call Earth, of this reality, as well as the densest layers of this reality, the more dense layers. And they didn't sign up for an easy life. In fact, the Blu-ray soul contracts have the most severe forms of contract within them. So, and that was intentional, because they are the natural alchemists. In fact, one of the defining qualities of a blue ray is that have had really harsh contrasts in their life experiences. This can take the form of mystery illnesses, incarnating into severely traumatized or distorted lineages, or even attracting abnormally high levels of persecution from others, as well as really bizarre and intense levels of injustice. And this is because of the way the blue ray's energy field is configured. It's ultramagnetic, creating a dynamic here. A dynamic similar to, let's say, a moth drawn to a flame. It's not that the blue rays enjoy to see others in misery or pain, or even to experience it theirself. They're not misogynists. In fact, their purpose of their energy field is simply, and I say simply, but it was a hard lesson to learn, to transmute the darkest layers of reality back into the light. Period. Now, some of the things that they are here helping to heal, and this is where you need to pay attention and use your discernment in listening to your own intuition, your own vibrational spidey sense within you to see if any of this resonates with you. They're here to end karmic debts, not just for their self, but for their bloodlines. Familial, family, bloodline patterns are being broken. Karmic debts are being paid and ended for everyone because of their soul growth. Family curses are being cut. All of the negativities that their families have suffered through, cycle after cycle after cycle, whether it's alcoholism, abuses of different levels, of different forms, what have you. They're here to break the cycles. And an interesting thing, because I don't claim to know it all. I don't claim to have came here with the whole book of answers. I didn't. I still had my own skill sets that I had to hone by learning my own lessons. And a lot of people that have watched my videos or that know me personally, they know that I've been married 5 times. And in all of the previous 4 marriages, I always would say, maybe with a little bit of pride even, that regardless of what kind of hell they put me through, at least they were never an alcoholic. And why did I say that? Because the most pivotal, influential, deepest love of my life was my father, who was, in fact, an alcoholic. I loved him fiercely. I would defend him fiercely, but I would also stand up to him and fight him fiercely if necessary, because he would go from being the greatest guy I ever knew to the meanest man I'd ever met that fast once the alcohol was in him. And I wasn't afraid to cross swords with him. And he actually said to me, see, he was my mentor growing up. He was the one that spoke Zen to me, honed my skills, encouraged me to do the scientific testing, and would do it with me and watch me do it and tell me things that he never told anybody else that he knew that he had figured out. So he was my greatest teacher. We had a great bond because of that. And he told me once when I was 16 that he was really hard on all 7 of us kids. And he was really god awful hard on us kids. The first 5 worse than my brother and I. We were the 2 youngest, but still pretty god awful hard. But he said to me that he was so hard on us because of how his father was with him. And his father was 10 times worse than he is, from what I hear. Because if we can stand up to him being the kind of bully he was, and he's our dad that we're supposed to respect and mind, if we can handle him, we can handle anybody that comes at us. Now, my 16-year-old mind actually understood that in a weird sort of way. Yeah, on the one hand, that's a effed up way to raise your kids. But on the other hand, he's right. He was right. Because it didn't matter what those 4 previous husbands put me or my kids through. It didn't make me not stand my ground. My dad taught me the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And that can be metaphorical or physical. And I'm not recommending violence, so don't nobody get my shit twisted, please. Uh, but my 5th husband, the one I thought was going to be it for me, really going to be that person, my person. Didn't know it at the time I fell in love with him, but he's that alcoholic. So he was that last childhood lesson, inner child lesson healing for self love and clear boundaries and really knowing that I'm enough that I had to face and deal with, reckon with in me, not in him, in me, because he's got his own stuff, you know. He's just playing the role that I needed to see, and I'm just playing the role he needed to see. That's all that is. I got nothing but love for that man. Nothing but love. It's a shame it couldn't have been different. But we go through these lessons so that we can be who we need to be for the whole world, for the collective, for the higher good. And yeah, they're hard. They're hard. And I think I need you to know that I know exactly what that means so that you can feel safe to come to me and let me help you. I ain't no bullshitter. I'm not fake. I don't have no delusional fantasies of grandeur. I don't want to be no more special than anybody else. I truly, genuinely only want for all of us to not feel jaded and alone and not enough anymore. Because I know personally what that feels like. I know that confusion intimately. I don't feel it anymore. But I'm going to always remember it so that I can always stay humble in order to be the best daggone teacher I can be for you. So that we can end this, break these cycles, and allow our babies to be born into a world that vibrates higher with more love and more protection than this world has ever seen. That's my truest hopes. Because on this journey that we call life, we truly are all here to awaken to our inner truths. We all walk the same path, yet no two stories are ever the same. We are connected as one through our collective consciousness. Although every single sacred, beautiful soul is individually unique by design, and I am truly deeply honored to be here with you on this journey. And I deeply honor your soul energy. This path is challenging, but you've been put here at this very moment in time because of your courage and your strength and your ability to transmute this negative energy into something more beautiful and to heal our beautiful, precious Mother Earth and to heal these precious, beautiful souls. Ascension means changing us in order to be able to change the future timeline. One where our children's children will know a world that is truly of harmony and balance. We are who we've been waiting for. And we pave the way for all here on earth, for all creations of life. And it is a truly special time to be alive. And with all of our intentions set together for love and respect, peace, harmony, balance, good can and will prevail. I thank you for watching my video, and I thank you for being a part of the greatest story of truth and unity that will be told for future generations. I would like to close with reading my daily mantra to you. My mind is calm. I am connected to spirit. Spirit flows through me. I will release all anger, grief, and guilt. I will take time to listen to myself and my guides. I will remain calm and centered even through chaos. I will allow spirit to flow through and guide me. I will project positive energy into the universe and receive its gifts in turn. I will increase my powers of healing and perception. I will use these powers to benefit myself and others. I will open myself up to love and prosperity. I will invite them in to my life. My mind is calm. I am connected to spirit. Spirit flows through me. And if any of you would like this mantra, I have bookmarks on my website for like $3 if you want that mantra to keep for yourself. I also have it on the forum on the website totally for free if you just want to go there and copy and paste it. Doesn't matter to me either way. It was created for me to share with the world. It's been a great guiding light for me, and so I know it can be a great guiding light for you. And again, I want to thank you for being here. If you're still with me this long, thank you very much on behalf of myself and the whole world for listening to the entire thing. Um, and just to, do the whole spiel, seriously, if you liked this, please like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, because I'm really trying to get this message out to the world. And I need your help doing that. And it's just a click away. That's all I need is a click. So, with that being said, until the next video segment, which is tomorrow, actually, I have two shows coming up tomorrow with two different people. Be well and be blessed in love and light.